Good evening, baseball fans. There's Robbie Warburg. So this is going to be very quick. I wasn't planning on doing anything, but this is not available yet, so I'm just beta testing it. This is Baseball Mogul 2023, and just some new features, enhancements, and one that I really, really like. We will get into. So pretty much kind of it's the same kind of art style on the splash screen. So pretty nice, pretty nice. I mean, it sort of fits the whole baseball mogul kind of aesthetic. So we can here start a new game. So we have all kinds of there's new stuff. Of course, you can take control of your favorite team on opening day, and it has a new thing now. This is new for baseball mogul, but of course we know this exists in out of the park baseball as well. As you can kind of do a 2023 replay sort of before it starts, and it uses a projection, which is kind of fun. Of course, then you have any season baseball from 1901 to 1901 to 2022. So unfortunately, still no 19th century in baseball mogul. Probably not going to happen. This is the new one that we're going to talk about, though. The exhibition game, really like this. This is a little something that I've already written to Clay, and so I'm so glad to see that Baseball Mogul has this. So you can play either a game or a series between any two historical teams. So great way to recreate World Series really quickly. And this is for those of you who maybe don't have out of the park baseball, or you don't have Action PC baseball. Action PC baseball doesn't. It takes a couple more steps to create a World Series than it does in out of the park in this. So yeah, but no tournaments. Fictional, which doesn't interest me at all. I'm not even going to look at that. You can do an expansion team. I might look at that later. And then custom is to load of course, load a database. And he's made enhancements to the league builder that he said. Now, what's neat about that is before, if you tried to import teams with the league builder and you had two players like on the same team, so 78 or 74 A's, 78 Yankees, it would really bug out the game. So he's fixed that. He's also revamped. He said, what's going on here? Let's see. Da, 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 da. So he says he's also made a number of improvements to the simulation engine for universes using the League Builder. So more about that replay mode. It says replay mode for 2023. It is now possible to turn on quote-unquote replay mode for the current season. This option can be found in player settings on the league menu. With this on, player performance will be dictated by their 2023 Major League projections, and these projections can be viewed in each player's scouting report. So this isn't exactly like out of the park baseball, um, and that you can actually play along with the season. So basically, um, I mean, it is and it isn't. I'm not really quite sure. It's a very nuanced thing. But so, and then for updating 2023 rosters, when you start a modern game, are the correct players in the correct teams? Are they rated correctly? That I'll look into in a little while. So, I just wanted to highlight a couple things. So, again, everything kind of looks the same. What hasn't changed is this is a database containing the all-time best players from each of the 30 modern franchises. We'll look at it for a second. And replay mode, there you go. And this is our start year, and it's loading everything in. Um, and just like out of the park baseball, Baseball Mogul has its database already built into it. So yeah, it is a start. Perhaps tournaments at some point. Who knows? Okay, so we'll just really quickly. I'm just going to pick the Pittsburgh Pirates, and I'll just put in here. The title would be Seamus Heaney, who is a great Irish poet. So we'll just be Seamus Heaney. Doesn't matter. I'm leaving it on coach. Don't really care about that. Save quality, very good. You're damn right. So let's play. All right. And what I'm curious to see. So see now, there we go. We have a problem already. I need to let Clay know that this is not working. So forget this. Now another problem with the game is that you can't break out of this. There is no way. Okay, so I've just double clicked it again. There we go. Okay, so that's a little bug that if I wasn't persistent wouldn't have happened. Okay. No, I don't think, Robbie, because it still looks the same. So there you see, it's not finding like the names, anything like that. There's standings. Let's just look at. You see, it didn't load in the players, so this is very very bugged. It would seem they're not here. Um, Bit of a drag. So let's go to done. So National League wildcard races, American League, National League, but so this is bugged, which really really sucks. So I have to let him know that this is not ready yet. So again, this isn't available yet, guys. It's not. It is not available. Okay. Let's go to. So let's go to Pirates, and yeah. What I wanted to see is whether this database was updated for the all-time greats. I thought it was a bit lacking. And unlike games like Out of the Park and Action PC Baseball, you cannot make direct changes to this. So the players that he selected are the players that are here. So we're going to go back, and we're going to back out of this. And let me see, we'll just go to game, new game, save changes. Nope, because it didn't work. So we're just going to look at the exhibition. So it's very, very easy, very clear. Okay. Of course, Clay puts his own name in there, and that's fine. So let's pick, let's pick 1979 and 1979. Doesn't matter. So for these, you can go, again, just back to 1901. Not bad. Not bad, not bad, not bad. And, if we wanted, we could recreate. In fact, we'll just do it. Let's just do 1979 World Series. And we're going to pick the Baltimore Orioles and the 1979 Pittsburgh Pirates. And series length, we can go best of 7. So that's basically what you're doing. Any two teams in baseball history, I'm just doing this as, we're replaying the 1979 World Series. There's Christopher Slovic. Can you play a league and every team is computer owned and managed? Yes, you can. You always could do that. You have to pick one that you're actually working for, but it can sim out everything. Now, that being said, Christopher, I don't play this. When I do play it, I don't play with financials or anything like that. So I just play it as another way to just play some baseball. Is all I do. Sometimes trades are fun and everything like that. So we can start, whatever start date we want to pick. And I don't remember when the 1979 series started. Doesn't matter. So we'll start October 1st, and we'll play. Now, one thing I did write to him, so we have Burke, Y11. There we go. Everybody looks good there. El Moreno, Madlock, Stargell, Robinson looks right. Nice. Okay. So it doesn't. You don't get the ballparks, all of the ballparks. So this is basically. It's saying Three Rivers Stadium, but you're getting PNC Park. Now, it does have Three Rivers, measurements, what have you. The other thing I've noticed is, and this might just because this is a beta, that player uniforms aren't correct, obviously. Both teams wearing black, but in this game it really doesn't matter. This is more window dressing. Again, you still have the same things in baseball. Mogul plays strictly as general manager, sit back and watch. I like to play as a manager. The player is kind of like just a watered down sort of arcade experience. It's kind of fun where you can guest pitch, what have you. Leave it at manager. There's a lot that goes on in this game, but we've already talked about Baseball Mogul last week or 2 weeks ago on the channel. It's a game that I do buy every year. It's a game I don't play a lot, but this exhibition mode might be fun just to kind of compare this across. Maybe I'm thinking like at least four different baseball engines to see how it works. Maybe 5. This, and then compare it to Action PC, Out of the Park Baseball, Digital Diamond, Diamond Mine. So I'm not sure yet how we're going to do this. So, but to be fair, to be fair to Clay, I do want to wait until the full version comes out. So again, this is not available. You kind of start unemployed in this game as well, Robbie. I mean, you sort of do. You have to pick your team, but you can, in this game, you can kind of switch up anytime you want. But anyhow, this is basically, it's giving you all the balls in play this time for it, and Al Bunbury just flied out to center. Again, if you're expecting in-depth play-by-play with this game, that's not happening. It's very utilitarian in that respect. But again, a lot you can do. I stay away from budget, but there's things you can do. You can edit cities, you can draft editor. So there's a draft mode in this game, a stadium editor if you want. Can't do that while play-by-play. So what we're going to do is finish here, because I'm not doing a long stream. Okay, notice there's no recap, nothing at all. So again, just showing you guys that is there, so you can have a lot of fun with it if you feel like it. Hey, there's Jackass Whiskey and Pinto Beans. Good to see you again, my friend. It's been a little while. So I think it's worth a whirl every season, Robbie. It's not one that I play a lot, but I've played more. So I can go up here, view Pittsburgh, and then use the play menu to advance. I can look at this. Where's the calendar? There's the calendar. Okay. It's not, it's not really where I want it to be. There we go. So now if we go to here, right, we can play this in play-by-play, but we're not going to do that. Let's look at the stadium editor. What does it do? Commissioner mode, yes. So as you can see here, you can generate a random stadium, but all that does is just generate all that stuff. Now, it just gives you the year that it was opened. Unfortunately, unlike Out of the Park Baseball and unlike Action PC Baseball, this isn't normalized at all. So it just, I don't see any indication, right? We can see that, we don't, whatever, if you really care about this thing, it's 1,000 feet above sea level. Which I'm trying to think if the Allegheny Plateau is at that. I know I should know that. But again, you can't bring in, so you can see diagram not available. In past iterations, they're not. So what I'm guessing is you're getting the 30 ballparks. The 30, right? Because if I generate random stadium, it means nothing. Now, if I wanted to actually, say, play Forbes Field, I could just name it Forbes Field, and just, park dimensions are available all over the internet. Put them in there. You can put in stadium effects, and it's see right now, because the average is 100, and that's pretty much accepted in baseball. So anything above 100 is a hitter's park. Below 100 is a pitcher's park, and these should actually be set to 100. Three River Stadium is pretty neutral in terms of home runs. But that's really all you can kind of do with that. Just looking at some other things. City editor. So this is really, if you're just playing, if you're really playing with financials or whatever, this is just what you would do there. Let me see, what else do we have here. You can do settings for your league, all that kind of stuff. So I would say that, would I like to turn off? No, I don't want to turn that off. Again, very easy, one click, you can play. Let's look at the league builder really quickly, because I've noticed that in the past the league builder was weird. So we're going to do this now. So we're going to go to custom, and we're going to go to league builder, and we're just going to throw in some teams, all right? So let's pick, for instance, Robbie's 2011 Rangers. And the league builder's fun. This is kind of more up my alley. I kind of like this. All right, so we can add team. Now, what I'm looking for is to see whether or not this will actually, it doesn't know to assign them to American League, National League. So just kind of keep your picks that way. So I'm not going to do all 30 teams, obviously. Yeah, Action PC is way better for doing broadcasts. It really, really is. But that said, I think this is kind of a fun game if we're doing sort of like a baseball chat here, and we just want to have something running in the background. I'm just clicking buttons. Sometimes I'll just fire it up and play a game. It's there's a lot there's some cool stuff about this game that I really like. But yeah, as far as to broadcast this, um, I yeah, it's not really a game I would broadcast. So one thing that I would really like to see is we're going to put in the what the 19 let's put in the 65 Twins. One thing I'd really like to see from this game is an out of the park baseball. When you're doing these, you can see the win loss records of the teams. The only way to do that in this is I've got to pick them, you know, and then kind of look at them because this isn't showing me. So I see they're world champs. So I'm going to add them. So let's see, who else do we want to add? I don't really care if I get duplicate players. Or Chicago White Sox, I believe we're looking for, what, 2005 for them, I think. Let's change this to 2005. It's either 2005 or 2007. I can't remember which it is. Yep, there we go. All right. So you have to have at least 2 teams in this. But you can have I forget. I don't know how many you can have. So now we could add random teams. Let's see what happens. Nothing. All right. So this doesn't work yet, and that's okay. Again, this is a beta. Let me see who else. Who else? Who else? Who else? 1980. Let's do the 1980 Kansas City Royals. I'm just doing these off the top of my head here. Okay. So we got some American League teams. Let me see. Let's do some National League teams now. And actually, since we're on 1980, let's put in the Phillies. And let's see. What else do we want? I'm just going to put in my 2015 Pirates just because they were pretty good. There we go. And what the 2016? I think we went 20. Is it 2016 that we went with the Cubbies? All right, and then one more. So, I mean, this is nice. It's nice and clean. And I'm just picking all later teams. I should probably pick something from a 1960s. So let's do like the 1969 Amazons. Why not? Just for you guys to see. Um, New York Mets. Okay, so we're gonna add that team there. So we have 8 teams. So we're gonna click done. All right. Who do we want to manage? Well, I don't know shite about the Rangers. So we'll manage the 2015 Pirates. And let's look at what we have for advanced options. You can equalize all cities, shuffle all teams, fictional players, fictional teams. Historical rookies. You can settle that up if you want. I'm not going to do that. Again, first name, last name. Again, I'm going to be a different Drake Pierce, who was executed actually after the 1916 Easter Uprising. So boom. All right. So here we go. And it gives you a nice picture of Garrett Cole. Of course, we had Garrett Cole as the as Pittsburgh Pirate. We can look at a calendar. We really don't have anything yet. We go down here. There we go. We got a full calendar. So the Bucs are going to start out against the 1980 Phillies. When you mouse over, it gives you projected starters, which is something I like and have always liked. This is something not new in Baseball Mogul. It's there. What I'm curious, though, is to see whether it still generates the web page that it did like last year. Robbie said, well, I've had this game in the past. I think the exhibition feature, we're finally getting some good innovation from Clay. It's always good when a developer can produce new ways to play. Yeah, I agree. I wish, I hope that, the Clay, like you said, will think about down the road add a full-blown tournament mode because this game is really built for something like that. I think it'd be nice. And again, a quick way to do it. It's a quick way to do it. Game's very easy on the eyes. It's nice big You know, nice clean layout. I really like it. And all the in-depth stuff is up here if you want to. You can, of course, find players, which is really nice. Um, so looking for active players, name, blah, 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 blah. Stats displayed this season, last season, AAA. It'll go down all the way down. So, but it's going to search for active players um, just in this. It's not going to search the entire database. So I'm not going to be able to find Babe Ruth in here, for instance. Okay. But we're going to click Done. And we'll go ahead and simulate until April 1st. And there we go. So once again, we're seeing a PNC Park that's accurate. So this is going to be Garrett Cole. And see, Polanco, Cervelli. I wouldn't bat Cervelli that high, but we'll let it go. Kang McCutcheon, Marante Walker, Sean Rodriguez, Corey Hart, Jordy Mercer. I would rather have Pedro Alvarez in there, but that's fine. Done. Manny Trio. Now, what I'm not sure is if it automatically loads the players. I think it does. It used to be that you had to download player photos. When I fired this up, this is in a different directory. The player photos were here already. So that's kind of nice. Click up player name to see bench, but we look here. So there's Gary Maddox and all the things that we've gone over with. So it gives you kind of little scouting reports, things like that, which is really nice, I think, too. If you're, because the scouting report is, it says, bagged 26 bases against opposing teams last year. Again, it's actually telling you what he did. If we look at regular career totals, let me see, can we go through these things? Batting career, pitching, fielding, game logs, transition, vital cells, charts. So this is a nice feature, I think, that that this has always had. So as you go on and you play a season, you're going to see if how to pitch to him, essentially. And I think that's really good if you're playing that sort of player mode. So anyhow, Garrett Cole winds and fires the 1-0, and this one sent to center field, and this will get down for a base hit. So Manny Trio on board, and the computer manager, of course, there, so might choose to steal. Now, can I choose to pitch out? I can't. So this is kind of where you get into some things that I wish you could do. There's no reason, there should be no reason why I can't pitch out, in other words. Just taking a few minutes here to show this off. So Jack asked, Whiskey and Pinto Beans likes my channel after a few drinks. All right, well, that's good. It's kind of like, what is that song? Don't they all get prettier closing time or something? I'll take it, man. Huh. See, as a manager, I want to be able to pitch out. I want to pitch out, and I can't, right? Nothing I can do if I click on Garrett Cole, blah, that's all I get is, I get all that. But I want to be able to pitch out. I can't. So if Manny Trio would decide to steal, or if they have a hit and run on, it's going to be up to really the program to try to stop that. So the managing mode is a bit limited. So all I can do is straight away guard the lines, first base in, third base in, corners and intentional walk. But I can't pitch out, and I can't, the only way to get out of one pitch mode is, again, if you go to player. But once again, I only have these options, and I can choose how I'm going to pitch to Pete Rose. So let's say I want to throw him a fastball, and then I can just put here where I want to throw the fastball, maybe about a little bit low, right? But we're going to try to hit the corner. And, again, nobody's perfect. So Pete Rose, base hit, Trio moves to third. All right, let's go back to manager mode. So Now we have Dave McBride. Again, I know my baseball history, right? So down here, nice. Again, nice averages, nice and clear, nice ratings. So I know McBride is fast if he gets on. He's a good contact hitter. I know that Rose is fast, but nothing I can do. I can't do, I can't, I guess, play any defense against this. So it's just basically pitching. Grounder looks like to second. Looks like so yeah, double play. So you got to keep track of this. And we're definitely not doing the whole game. This is not. I mean, I've seen our Red Sox fan broadcast this. That was a flyout, right? So let the Pirates bat. Steve Carlton face Gregory Polanco. We can do game stats. We can do season stats, meaning these season stats, right? Not. I mean, so these game stats, season stats, really not giving us much of anything right now, as you can see. So you used to be able to get historical stats in this game. All right, so anyhow, let's go ahead and here's the pitch. Polanco lines this one, and this will get down. Would like to stretch this into a double. So this is sort of reminiscent of baseball for Windows when you manage in that game. So let me see. So 60% chance of success. I know this Pirate team. I'm not going to stretch it with Polanco. I mean, despite the fact he has 92 speed, I don't want to do that. So, you know, here's Francisco Cervelli, which again, I would not bat Cervelli second. A good contact hitter, but a little high up. So you can change the lineups. Here's the delivery. And this one, base hit to center. So Polanco gets to third, and that brings up Young Ho Kang. So I know he has decent power. I also know that he was a very streaky hitter. Let's go ahead and let a pitch. Kang swings, and this one, comebacker right to Carlton. One out. Bucco's still with runners at the corners. Here's Kutch. And McCutcheon lines this one to shallow right and down into, we know that Gregory Polanco tagged up and scored. So the Pirates tie the Phillies here in the bottom of the first. What do I like about this? And again, this is any edition now, Baseball Mogul, as it shows pitch location, which is really nice. Just gives it that extra kind of nice thing. Now, what I want to see here is, let's see, what do advanced tools? Whoops, no, I don't want to, well, I didn't want to do that. Advanced tools. So you can import team settings, you can import team transactions, so this is really nice. There's a lot of depth to the game, actually. Recalculating salaries, don't care. You can recalculate endurance. You can export these roster files. This is important because if you wanted to create a draft league, so what I would do is with these 8 teams, I could export roster files for each team, and then I would have, I would be able to do a draft. You can download team logos, of course. You can download player photos. They're already in here. So I'm guessing, I'm not sure. So if you do end up buying the game when it's available, you might want to see if you already have Baseball Mogul. These should apparently will load in. If not, boom, you just do this. You can load Hall of Fame data, whatever. So there you go. So don't know what Thanos means. Well, I know what it means in Greek, but it's Thanos. Yep, Wintersley disintegrate 50% of all living players. Well, we're not going to kill them because Thanos is deaf. Thanatos, right? Being Eastern Orthodox. That's one I know. Okay, so here's Starling Marte. Here's the delivery. And this one. And then you just get everything right there. So Polanco scores. That's it. And blah, 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 blah. We're going to finish the game. I mean, this is, like I said, this is going to be just a quick look, and that's exactly what it was. All right, so the Phillies edge the Pirates 5-4. So now what I can do here is left click for a box score, and indeed it does, what it's done is given you a nice sort of web page. Let's see if everything's clickable in this one. And we see that Del Unser is a center fielder. So doesn't really give us much in the way of the clickiness, but you get that in the rosters. It generates a quick web page for you. We'll go ahead and close this web page, and then we can right-click for a recap. Basically, what the recap again in Sports Mogul is, and Baseball Mogul, I should say, is basically the film version, if you will, that you find in Action PC Baseball. Whereas in Out of the Park Baseball, you can actually jump into games and see the plays like animated and played out. So in that respect, Robbie, I wouldn't say that adding an exhibition mode is bringing him closer to Out of the Park Baseball. I think that he's just adding something in, and as I wrote to him, I think really needed to be added to this game, and I do like that a lot. Okay, so what we're going to do is I want to see here if we look at the Twins. What I want to do is look at them, and we're going to just play. If we can get to their calendar, there they are. So this Minnesota Twins, this is not the proper logo for the Minnesota Twins of 1965. That's what I wanted to check. It's like the two guys, like you see the silhouette of Minnesota, and they're kind of shaking hands. So you would probably have to download the logos for this. No big deal. I mean, you can play them with this, whatever. We can look at the 1969 Mets, and the Mets logo pretty much has always been the Mets logo, so I probably should have picked a few more players. The Phillies, again, this would have been that weird kind of P that looked like reminded me of Pepsi or something. So what Jackass Whiskey and Pinto Bean says, what I like to do in Baseball Mogul is take a German pitcher and edit him with a powerful eephus pitch. Yup, exactly. Oh no, Robbie, I'm not saying it's disappointed. Oh, thank you, Aaron, because I am not a country western fan, so thank you. Yeah, you can pitch out in pitch by pitch mode, but if let's just do one here. And so Francisco Liriano, blah blah blah. So yeah, if I go to here and I go to player, right? So right now, of course I can't because nobody's on there. So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna start with a fastball to trio, and we're gonna pitch him kind of maybe sort of up in the zone and outside, and takes one for a ball. So let's go ahead and let's get a player on first. And one out. And the Phillies are not going to, they're going to oblige me, are they? Nope. So they go 1, 2, 3. Another nice thing about this game is you can sort of skip through batters. And there's McCutcheon. Now we got 2 on. Let's go ahead and bat. And this should end it. Yep, inning over. I just want somebody to get on. There we go. There's Mike Schmidt. Now, if we go, right, so I can select a pitch, but no, unfortunately, I can't pitch out unless there is something I am missing, because I am now in pitch-by-pitch mode. So if I do a fastball, choose location, that's it. So maybe that's something that's not in this beta, that all I can do is just, there's Mike Schmidt on first, and I can't defend against that. But is it a cool game? Yeah, I mean, will I buy it again when it's available? Absolutely. Will it replace Action PC Baseball and Out of the Park? Absolutely not. I like supporting Clay. I think there's time. I think there's time for more innovation. I would say at this point, now he hasn't given me or any of the testers a complete list of changes. in the game. We're hoping to see more, but there's more I think that we done with the game, and I think that the exhibition mode is definitely moving in the right direction. So I agree with you, Robbie. We'll do a full look at this when it releases. It's probably going to release around the same time as Out of the Park and Digital Diamond. But I really wanted to talk about that exhibition mode, which I really like. So since we have a couple more people in, we'll kind of review that. Now we do have a little bit of a bug here. There we go, and the game has crashed. Again, it is a beta. So we're going to close the program, cancel it, and we're going to start it one more time. All right. So once again, for you guys that are curious, there's also, I've never done expansion team. I've never played that. We can mess with it sometime. But any two historical teams. So, and just to show you that you don't get all the ballparks, let's do 1910, and let's do, I guess what, the Philadelphia Athletics. Now there we do have a proper logo there, which is nice. And since we are doing that in our that KCCL we're doing, let's select these 1912 Red Sox, and it's still that, unfortunately. So let me see if that changes. If I select the Red Sox, it does not. We'll just do one game, and we'll play. And Fenway Park, of course, is going to show up. I should have actually switched them around. Players are there, which is really nice, though. Yep. World's Worst Gamers, he says it's good that they added a proper exhibition feature. Yeah, I think that's big. So there we go. Jackass Whiskey telling us a pitch-by-pitch mode, just throw it wide of the strike zone or in the dirt. Okay, that's interesting. Nice to know. Nice to know. So again, I like the fact that the player photos are, easily obtainable. But as you can see, if we go ahead and just finish this game, we're going to pick two others. And again, because it's a beta, we're not going to see. We're going to see games we're going to see little buggies and things like that, and that's fine. All right, let's pick. I'll tell you what. We'll just switch these teams around. Okay, so we're going to take the 1912 Boston Red Sox. Okay, and we're going to play them against the 1911 Philadelphia A's, and I don't think we're going to see Shibe Park. Okay, and let's do it. Nope. So there you go. You may get Shibe. You do, as I said before, you will get the dimensions of the ballpark. And these are the dimensions for Shibe, but as far as the photo, you're going to get just the 30 ballpark. So this is Citizens Bank Park. One weird thing that I noticed, it was maybe 3 iterations ago of this game. There was more of a more textured look to this. Now this kind of pastel aesthetic he's gone with the past 2 or 3. I don't know that I like as much. But it's a nice game. It's a nice game, and I think this exhibition mode is fun. I think you can do a lot. Just have a lot of fun with it. It's actually one I play a lot with in Out of the Park Baseball. So I would say in terms of setting up a World Series replay, Out of the Park Baseball and Baseball Mogul, a couple clicks and you're ready to rock. There's MV. Yes, it does have an exhibition mode, and I'm going to let Clay know that people are really excited about that, and it does. How about a one-off series? Yep. Yep, absolutely. So I could play this as a World Series. I could just play it as one game. You could do just one game, best of 3, best of 5, best of 9. No tournaments. Hopefully that's something that Dave will, or that, Clay Dreslov will look at in the future. I'd love to see tournaments in this game as a logical next step, since you do have the exhibitions. And that's what Out of the Park started with, actually. They did exhibitions before they did tournaments. So looking forward to that. The exhibition mode is like my wheelhouse, so I really want to try to play this, break it, see what I can do with it. So no tournaments. Yes, you can, Robbie. So up here, it's basically save game and then return to it. Yes, you can. Although, to be honest, games play so quickly in Baseball Mobile. I've never. The only time I've saved is if I'm playing a season replay and back in the day or something, or playing out games. But this plays so super quickly. I mean, right? 9-inning game is probably going to take maybe 20 minutes, if that, in this, because we're not even calling it. And if we were to run this side by side with Action PC, I mean, this game goes faster. So I guess if you were going to, like, you know, you had to go run somewhere, what I'd like to see him do is, a lot of people are liking his season ticket baseball. I'd love to see him adapt that to this. There's Eddie Collins. There, so that's in it there. We've already played a full inning, and that's hardly taken any time. So it's a very, very fast-moving game. Baseball Mogul made me admire certain players, said Jackass Whiskey. Their names are seared into his mind. Goose Goslin, oh, so many, right? Is it possible to create teams like we do in the Bingo League or Ned McGreevy or the Corn League? It is, but it's very Speaker, absolutely. It is, but it's similar to the way you would have to do it in out of the park baseball. Now again, we don't know if out of the park 24 has changed that. You can, but it's not easy. You can do it, yeah. At the Bingo League, no, you would have to have the database created. The Bingo League would be really extremely hard in this game to do. So our little Bingo League, or whatever we want to call it, because we're able to go into the season and import the player we want. You cannot do that in this off the rip. I'm sure there's a workaround. I wouldn't even want to attempt it. It just wouldn't be worth it. Jack Combs, another good one. Absolutely. So yeah, but the exhibition is really, really nice. And I think there's a lot of possibilities with it. If you, and again, if you don't own out of the park baseball, if you do own it and you have this as well, maybe you could compare the two. You know, I could play this game out really quickly, and then if I was doing a full stream tonight, which I'm not, we're going to be cutting this off really soon. You know, then I would just do it in out of the park, and also, of course, Action PC is very, very easy to do as well. Again, everything clickable down here. Well, not down here in this ticker. It should be at some point. But there's Speaker. Is Jackass Whiskey's talking about one of the legends, the immortals of the game. Look at him in the outfield, just insane. Actually, I think he's rated a little low here in center field. But you can edit players. I would rate Speaker higher than the 82. Definitely more than the 82. But again, I think that's all, I guess, kind of subjective. In other news, by the way, my team-by-team encyclopedia of Major League Baseball just came today, and what a nice, dense book it is. It's almost 1,000 pages, and it's pretty cool. So got it on eBay for $5, and it looks like it just came off the printer's press. I keep saying to you guys, if you want to buy some of these great old fat baseball books, get on eBay. They're there. And V says, spent a summer 10 years ago killing this game. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, I'm definitely going to be buying, I'll be buying this game. I mean, I buy it every year, and I will again. I think it's a nice game. Of course, now I guess the one thing we should look at, because some people do like to do season replays. So we're going to go ahead and see what that looks like. We're going to do a new game. We're going to not save. All right, now this time it's not crashing on us. All right, we're going to do it. We're going to do a season. So replay mode is intended for single season historical plays. So let's read about this because this is kind of new. All right. Each player's performance is based on their real life stats for that single season, viewable as predicted stats. Unchecking replay mode will default to general manager mode. In GM mode, player level or player talent level and ratings are determined by their overall statistical record. Player development is unpredictable to simulate the fog of war we encountered by real life general managers. So if I want to, if I just, I'm just going to leave this and turn that off. And we can load Negro League players if we want to. Um, and I think we'll go ahead and do that. We'll pick something, I don't know, 1938 perhaps. Okay, so this is going to load the entire entire database through 1937. Okay, and let's put the replay mode on. What the hell? Okay. So loading and everything. And again, it's really no, I mean, as far as this is basically what you do in any other baseball sim. Um, and I do want to download the logos because I do remember that in the other iteration, last year's iteration, it did have the proper logos. And now that I remember, I did have to download them. So 1938, we'll take the Pirates. They finished second. Yeah, and I just picked. They finished second to the Cubs. So once again, I'll take the Pirates. And yeah, so I'm gonna try to get these logos because I'd like to get the proper logos in. But anyhow, this is as easy. There we go. There's Archie Vaughn, student tutored by Hannes Wagner. Archie Vaughn, considered one of the greatest shortstops of all time, unfortunately forgotten um, by a lot of modern baseball fans, which really makes me sad. Really makes me sad. Um, let's see if we can get these logos in here. Where are they? I know I was just looking at them. There we go. Found logos for 26 current historical. Done. Doesn't look like it changed them up anyhow, though. There's a nice depth chart. Let's look at the Boston Red Sox. And I don't think it did it. Because I know what these old logos look like. There. Okay, so it did get the New York Giants. See, but it's still showing the Boston Bees as the Braves. That is not what this looked like. So, but that's all right. Yankees, that was, again, so, but it's a beta. 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 Go back to your own team, and there we go. Pretty good team they had in 1938, these Pittsburgh Pirates. No, this is not out yet, MV. That's why, if you look on the title, this is a beta. This is not available yet. I didn't see any non-disclosure agreement saying that I couldn't show this off, so I just thought I would whet your appetite here, so you can see what the changes. And the big one, the big change is the exhibition, and also the updating of the of doing the leagues, right? That league builder, which is really nice, for mixing and matching. But then what you could do is again, you could dump those into a database and then do a draft from there. So you could do a draft league, but the draft league that we're doing in our bingo league, I can't imagine. I know. I mean, of course, we're doing an Action PC. It'd be super difficult to do an out of the park, but could be done um, because you have all the seasons. I own all the seasons for Action PC, but it's another story. You could do it in Diamond Mine, but again, you would have to own all the seasons. It'd be harder in that because you have to keep switching the active database Whereas when I start bringing the guys in um, on the teams once our draft is done, I'm just importing players onto rosters at that point. So this is going to work a little different than the Nebagrevi draft. But even in the draft, we decided to go that way because we're using the baseball history collection for that. For our new thing that we're doing, we're using the players' actual seasons as opposed to that. So that's why we're drafting by year as opposed by player, if that makes sense. But I like it. I think the exhibition mode is going to be welcomed by many players just by looking at what you guys have to say here. Really, really excited about it. And, I have to say I am too. As soon as I saw that, I'm like, oh, this is cool. And it's the first thing I tried before I came on. Are you able to do exhibition in Negro League team versus Negro League or other? So you can load Negro League teams, but unlike out of the park baseball, I don't see any way that you can actually play Negro Leagues. Whereas in out of the park baseball and Action PC, you can. Um, So you can load the Negro Leagues. No, we're not in. I mean, this is a Negro League year, but you can see this is basically Major League Baseball. Now we could. I don't know what playoffs. So if the season ended today, we would have Boston versus Boston. Well, we know that didn't happen in 1938. It's just doing it by alphabetical order right now. Um, headlines, blah, blah, blah. Last name looks, again, beta guys. So, right now, I would say that this is not a revolutionary update, but an incremental update. Now, I would have to check. I'm not sure if this uses as played schedules or not. I probably should have done 1908, and I would be able to tell you right off the rip if it was. But you can play any season from 1901 to 1920 or to 2022, and then also 2023. You can pre-play it, as it were. It's cost effective alternative. Now I don't know what he's going to be charging for this game, and you've got to decide what you like. If you're like World's Worst Gamer is not a fan of out of the park baseball, so this might be an alternative for him. For me, I'll buy it because I like to support Clay. I think he's a good developer. There's more I think this game could do, and I hope will do. But it's nice. It's a nice game. It is a really, really nice game, and looking forward to playing the full version. So yeah, the exhibition is nice. Yeah, the achievement tab for players is brilliant. There's really lots. There's really lots with this. And in a way, this game and how Clay has managed to do this, it kind of stands on its own. It really, I mean, there's certain elements that you can compare to Action PC baseball, certain elements you can compare to Out of the Park. Probably even Diamond Mine here and there. But of all of them, I have a real Out of the Park vibe. And I mean, these two were competitors from back in the day, Out of the Park baseball and Baseball Mogul. And what helped Baseball Mogul back in the day was it was easier to navigate. I mean, just to show you guys, let's jump out of this and just give you a little reminder of some ancient history. Yeah, I'll save it. We'll mess around with the 1938 Pirates. I don't know how long this beta is going to be good for. But just for shits and giggles, and this is a very old version of Out of the Park 8, and this is free, by the way. So it has such a Byzantine interface. So we're just going to go. I think this is the 1938 season as well. Yeah, it is. And there's no way to make this larger, unfortunately. But this is a super deep game. But what always let down Out of the Park baseball back in the day was right. You had crazy menu choices all over the place, and then you also had all of this down here as well. So it was pretty. You can see why Baseball Mogul was kind of like really like embraced, if you will. Um, so yeah, and now with Out of the Park, just like you can do now, I can act as any team. So now I can be the Chicago White Sox of 1938 if I want to be. Um, we can look at the roster. There's everybody on the Chicago White Sox for 1938. There's Ted Lyons, their ace for that year. But let's go back to the Pirates. Theoretically, we're going to go back as the Pirates. So, as you can see, it's a little bit hard to do, right? Manager homepage. There we go. So back to the Pittsburgh Pirates. And then we can go down here. We press this little baseball. There's the schedule. These are already played. And then we can just jump to current date, whatever we want to do. Go to the next day. There we go. Pick the game we want to play. So, I mean, I'm used to Out of the Park, but the new Out of the Parks, as you guys know, are great. But if you go on Clay's website, you could find, I know for a while at least he did, he was keeping a lot of older versions of Baseball Mogul up. And if you compare them, you can see why Baseball Mogul really was very, very popular. Um, so, but that being said, let's bring it back up here one more time. Yes, I do want to quit. We'll bring this back up again. All right. Anyhow, it's good. It's good. It's a good game. I think it's gonna, I mean, there's no surprises here. There's no kind of big drastic game breaking things. I don't see that happening. Clay's very good with updates through the year, which I like. Um, MV says Out of the Park has always been your number one. It's the grandchild of Baseball Pro Series. Baseball Mogul was indeed more popular at one time. Jackass Whiskey saying Baseball Mogul made him love the players. And in MV, it's easy to use and still is easy. There's Bernard Strom. Yeah, he's been doing some stuff, guys. So check out his channels. He says he likes this game. Could be a lot more. Agreed. It's fun to play. I agree with you, and that's kind of always my assessment of Baseball Mogul. I think there's more, but I think this is probably accessible for while deeper fans, Bernard, like us. Hey, there's John DFW saying good evening from Beverly Hills on the left coast. I think, Bernard, that you and I would agree that the other games like Ace Action PC, Out of the Park, are way, way more in depth. I think this is probably more accessible for, while those of us who are in, deep, deep baseball fans, there's a lot we can like about this. But I think this is more accessible. If I were to bring somebody into sort of digital baseball simulations and they really just didn't want to get terribly deep, I would say, okay, you know what? A couple clicks and you could go ahead and replay your favorite season. And then from there, start working with the menus up here and get in depth in the program. So there is depth to it. Could there be more? Absolutely. But that exhibition mode is brilliant. So Clay Dreslov, thank you very much for adding that in. Looking for more as the years progress from Baseball Mogul. Yeah, so Bernard's saying that he gives it a pass in realism. It's not my favorite game, but I usually play one season replay year with it. So Robbie says he doesn't get picky on realism. I do. I actually do. So that's why, the big four that, I mean, my two favorites, of course, Action PC and Out of the Park Baseball, but also Baseball for Windows and Diamond Mine. I want that. I don't want Walter Johnson to be pitching like a scrub. If that's what you're talking about. I want these players to play pretty accurately, and I want the season replays to be accurate. And I've done season replays in all four games that I've mentioned, and been very satisfied with the results. I've done season replays in Baseball Mogul, and not quite. But it's a good game. It's a good game. I think it's fun. I think it's worth it. Yep. World's Worst Gamer, I think, nailed it. And he says, I think it's easily the best game to introduce young kids to sim baseball on PC. Absolutely. Absolutely. John says he used to buy Baseball Mogul until Out of the Park came out. Yeah. I mean, Out of the Park baseball is kind of its own animal now too. But I think Clay's really done something good with this. And I mean, you know what? Even just to mess around here, if we want, um, let me just bring up the other edition that we can go into depth. So again, there's that aesthetic I was talking about. So of course, what you see here missing is that exhibition. So this is the one that's available right now. This is last year's so classic. I think, I think. Let me see what this one, if this one have the logos. Because I am picky about that stuff. And here we can load retired Negro League or load Negro League players. Do I want to load retired players? Nah, not really. So we'll go ahead and play. These are small save files, as you'd expect. But yep, competition is always good. Yeah, there's play again. Jackass Whiskey and Pinto Beans saying that's, and again, yeah, these aren't proper logos, unfortunately. So, but that's okay. What's kind of tricky, and not sure how Clay gets away with it, but I'm not gonna ever rat on him, that's for sure. He's actually using official logos. So these are trademarked, and I don't know whether he has a deal with Major League Baseball to use these, because the only two games I know that can use these legally are Out of the Park um, baseball and MLB The Show. So I'm not sure how he's pulling this off, but I don't care. That's fine. They look cool. I like them. I don't even know what season I picked. I'll be damned. Oh well, doesn't matter. Oh, 1948. So there's Ralph Kiner. It gives you a nice little blurb. It's got a lot of a lot of good to, yeah. Let's look at the world champs for that year, the Cleveland Indians. And there it is. So nice game. Bernard says last year he played the 1986 replay of Action PC, and the Red Sox were 15 games under 500. When I quit with Baseball Mogul 2022, he played the same 1986 season, and the Red Sox made it to the World Series. Yeah. So, you know, Action PC. One thing I would say, Action PC, that I love about it, one of the many things I love about that game, and but it requires Action PC is not a game that I would turn new players onto if I would try to get young people into it, into baseball, digital baseball sims, because you can easily make mistakes with Action PC, because it can be frighteningly accurate or it can be woefully inaccurate, um, depending upon a lot of factors, including some factors not in your control, which is what I think happened with Bernard in that 1986. I've played Action PC season replays, and the results are amazing. So, um, but again, it's I could have accidentally just done things. I don't know. I don't know. I've seen disparities all over the place. We see disparities with Diamond Mine Baseball. See them with them all, I think. But Action PC has something that no other game has, and it's that alternate reality mode, which I think is absolutely brilliant. Love to play that, because you really don't know how a player's going to perform. But yeah. Anyhow, do subscribe to Bernard Strom's Sports Replay. Just again, hover over his name, three dots, go to his channel, subscribe, hit the bell, get notifications. Very, very, very Very knowledgeable fan. So you're controlling a team. I'm talking about when the other AI tombs isn't realistic. Wizards Gamer says if any game is not Baseball Mogul, if any game that is not Baseball Mogul out there had this interface but had one, if not the best sim. What I don't understand, World's Worst Gamer, is your distaste for out of the park baseball, considering how well it predicts, um, playoff winners, World Series winners, seasons, the whole thing. And that one, you can actually track the accuracy of a replay if you take the human factor out of it. And it's a pretty fine game. But again, we're not ever. We're not. I don't want to get into any sort of like pissing match here, as it were, with anybody. We're never gonna all agree on the same game. We're not. For you, World's worst gamer. I mean, I get it. You've had some issues with Action PC, but you also play it a lot. I know pitch by pitch mode. You were saying. I think it was pitch by pitch mode was giving you some issues. Robbie is not an Action PC player. He doesn't like it, or I should say, he doesn't like. He just doesn't play it too much. For me, I love it. I love what it does, and I love out of the park baseball. If all out of all the baseball sims I have, and I have a lot, I could only choose two. It would definitely be out of the park baseball and Action PC. And if I could choose one more, it'd be baseball for Windows, definitely. Um, but again, I'm just kind of showing these off, just to give you guys sort of a sense of what's out there. There's players out there that are just getting into sort of digital text-based sports, baseball sims, which all of these are, even out of the park with all its nice animation and everything. So Bernard says his only complaint about out of the park baseball's ability to print and manipulate the reporting functionality. Completely agree with you on that. So good question. I have no idea, MV. I wouldn't. I really wouldn't use this for Negro League baseball at all. The two options are the ones I've mentioned. Really. Now, again, there's other. Baseball for Windows has its Negro Leagues disc. Dave Cook has, of course, 8 Negro League seasons plus the all-time top 20 teams. But you also have Steve Tate's file that he's building for the Negro Leagues. Out of the Park Baseball, of course, has the Negro Leagues, all of them, every season. So I would say until Steve Tate's things are done, if you want to actually do Negro Leagues out of the rip as a season, out of the park baseball is the one to use. I know Strat. I won't play Strat PC, but I think they're bringing the Negro Leagues in finally. I think into their digital game, so that's good to see. So John DFW apparently Marcus Heinsohn addressed that. And he said that they've made significant improvements on the historical seasons. So looking forward to that and on Out of the Park 24. And that I've seen that. I've definitely seen that criticism that you mentioned leveled against it. And Marcus Heinsohn actually talked about that. He said that not only did they really concentrate on the graphics this year, but they also wanted to concentrate on the historical replays because they know that a lot of players love to replay seasons. And why not? And why not develop that if you're creating a game where you have every season, every major league season, from 1871 to now, and you have all the alternate major leagues, which because of the way that the game's written are treated like minor leagues. You have the Negro leagues. You can play out of the park baseball if you want to replay a double A season. You want to play the Toledo Mud Hens, in 2008, 2009. You could do it. You can't do that in these games, unfortunately. But anyhow, I just wanted to show it off and just get a chance to say hello, guys, and all that kind of stuff. So, but I definitely agree with the assessment that if you were going to get somebody, you want to ease them into. In fact, a friend of mine, his son, is a big baseball fan and really has. At the time, I mean, this kid was like 14, and his baseball knowledge was for a 14-year-old about the history of the game. I was quite impressed. And he said, "Yeah, but when I'm tired of these arcade baseball games, I want to play something." Blah blah. Turned him on to Baseball Mogul, and he played the living crap out of this game. And then later on, he started getting into some other deeper ones, like Out of the Park and other games. So yeah, MV, you got. Oh yeah, you're absolutely welcome, my friend. We'll continue the bingo draft on Friday night. Oh, I know, Robbie, but I also know that you don't play Action PC very much, but it's fine. It's fine. We're not going to agree. Nobody's going to agree um, on a game. We're just not. Um, I mean, so I will say, as far as I'm concerned, for instance, and this will, I'm not saying this to cause crap, but just to make it a point. I think the Stratomatic PC baseball game is just bad. It's bad. The cards and dice game is great. I think their PC game is awful. And all you have to do is listen to ID Jester's epic rant about it, and that would just ticks every box with me. And yet there will be people on here that will say, "No, man, Strat PC is awesome. It's awesome. Why are you messing around with app of baseball for Windows when Strat PC is so much better?" And I would say, "Okay, why? Let's and we could go back and forth all day about it, about why I think baseball for Windows is the better game, and the other person is going to talk about why Strat PC is better." I don't get into the cards and dice debate because I haven't played cards and dice probably in about 10 years, maybe 15. So I've played Status Pro, I've played APA, I've played Strat, and guess what? I've liked all three. So I'm not really into that whole thing. Probably of those three, I like Status Pro the best, though, to tell you the truth. I like the way it plays with the fast action cards, and you don't have to consult books. Everything is on the Status Pro game board, so I like that. Um, but horses for courses, gents, right? Horses for courses. So yeah, so as Jackass Whiskey really loves and the achievements are really cool in this game. They really are. And maybe we can illustrate that really quickly. Let's go to a calendar and let's play this season up to the Cardinals. How about that? Simulate to June 24th. So here we go. Zing, 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 zing. And this engine's fast, as you can see. So I just happen to be at the amateur draft. Okay, yeah, I don't know who we're gonna pick. Yeah, it doesn't matter. Anyhow, let's go to standings. Geez, the Bucks. So talk about a disparity. So we're into June. The Pittsburgh Pirates. So Bernard, this is the exact opposite of what happened to you. So I'm just doing this in 1938, and the Pirates finished second. And look where the Cubs are. They're at 500, 8 games back. We're in June. The Bucks are 12 games out, and I did nothing. I've just let this play itself. So it's hit or miss, I think, in what happens in any season replay you're doing. The Pirates and Cubs in 1938 were just, I mean, battling it out like crazy. But anyhow, let's look at Pittsburgh. Um, let's look at let's go to our scouting page or depth chart for the Bucks. Let's see what we have here. Um, oh, this is 1948. I'm sorry, my bad, my bad. I thought this was 1930. So let's look at the Cleveland. Let's look at the standings for 1938. So my bad, man. Sorry about that. Let's see how the Indians. Yeah, look, the Indians fourth place. So let's look at the standings here. Um, for the American League. And Cleveland, 5.5 out. So New York and Boston. So yeah, I mean, I don't know how to. Don't really know how to say. I wish I knew. Like, if you could get behind these engines and stuff and whatever and see what drives them, but all good points. Yeah. So for me, Bernard, I don't like it. Talking about if you want to play cards and dice on PC, nothing beats PC Replay Baseball. And I've watched everybody else play it, and I think it's a game I love to watch others play. I've tried it twice, and if I may use Robbie as an example, Robbie just you know Action PC didn't grab him. PC Replay Baseball doesn't grab me. And I think I think it's taste, Bernard. I think it's really down to that. I don't think there's anything wrong with the game. Well, there's one thing wrong with the game is the price of the seasons. That's the seasons are just ridiculous. But as far as the game itself, it looks cool. I've watched Outplay it. I know you're a fan of it, and but it doesn't grab me. But yeah, I think it is. I think you're right. I think it's a great translation of the Cars and Dice game, according to the guys who have played it. Um, I've tried the demo twice, and I just PC Replay Baseball really does nothing for me. I hate to say, but that doesn't mean it's a bad game. It's probably a very good game from what I've seen. Um, I know that Steve Tate and I we're trying to we're big Action PC baseball fans. Steve, if Steve doesn't say it, I say it. If you don't own Action PC baseball, why don't you? But again, I respect everybody's choices. I really, really do. And it probably is. I mean, because out of the park baseball is not a conversion. Action PC is not a conversion. Um, Now, Bernard, I'm curious if you're still here. What's your opinion on Digital Diamond baseball? Because it's kind of a nice hybrid. So, sort of curious about what you think about Digital Diamond. Steve Tate couldn't sleep thinking about the draft last night. Nice. Glad, glad, glad. So John DFW, he's a fan of the Strat PC game, and that's cool. And I would guess he probably isn't a fan of the baseball or the APA, APA baseball for Windows. So, um, yeah, neither could I, Steve. Waiting for Robbie to do another tutorial on it sometime. Like with this game, Baseball Mogul, the interface is clean. You can find stuff easily. Like with what game? Oh, you mean so with PC Replay you can find stuff easily? Maybe you can. I don't know. Maybe you can, but yeah, I'm with Steve. Um, Getting a game going on it was weird, and I don't actually think I got a game going on it. But but again, I've tried it twice, and I just don't. It's just not my cup of tea. But that doesn't mean it's a bad game. It really, really does not. And I love that there are people playing it, and they love it, and I think it's good. One thing I do like about this, that you do see in other games, of course, is you see some nice little baseball, little stories going through, and he makes it looks like a, yeah, like in sort of like a newspaper, and it's kind of cool. Great way to learn about the baseball season, at least the players, and I think that gets back to what Jackass Whiskey and Pinto Beans is talking about as far as getting to know players. I think this is a great way to do it. There he is, the Don Mossy dude. I think he's aerodynamic with those ears, by the way. So that's it. Let me see. So Bernard, answering my question, he says he replayed the 1972 season of Digital Diamond Baseball last year. He likes the game. I just wish the fonts were bigger on the screen. Yeah, Best Buy and baseball sims with all the seasons. It's got them all. That's for sure. So does Out of the Park. But yes, um, it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. It's come a long way. He's adding in base or status pro, so I'm definitely buying it anyhow. I've been playing Digital Diamond since version 6 or 5, I think. And on Steam, I think I have it from version 6 or 7 on up. So, and I'll be buying it, I guess, this week when it comes out. So nice. So Bernard is a fan of Digital Diamond. So there's a game, we can agree on. I didn't like it a couple years ago when the fielding ratings, everybody was just generic fielding, but that's changed. So that's nice. Yep, UI. World Source Gamer has he's going PlayStation 5. I'm going to just because I want to get MLB The Show now that I found out you can just manage in that game, but I want a sexy, hot-looking MLB The Show, and I want that on PS5. So, I am gonna buy that. I'm buying it for one game, and that's MLB The Show. Seriously, and all the cool stuff that Legend Sports Universe and other modders are doing for that game. And who knows? Every once in a while, plug in a controller and just be really shite at the game. That'll be fun. Kind of the same as Super Mega Baseball, which is nice. I'd love to see some mods for that game. It's begging to be modded. It is begging to be modded. You have to hide your. See, that's right now. My girlfriend and I don't live together, so I can still do things like buy keyboards and computers and all that fun stuff. So. And Steve Tate says he's looking for the EA Sports Golf coming. I think tomorrow, for you early adopters, you guys can play Out of the Park Baseball 24 tomorrow. I'm waiting for it. I'm buying it on Friday from Steam. I'm not gonna early adopt this year. So anybody that buys it, all I ask if you come to the channel, please no spoilers. You can tell me if you like it or not, but please no spoilers. Please be nice. So shut off the management when you get more player tabs. Okay. So we got a jackass whiskey here to get either streaming or get on here with me on a mic sometime and talk about baseball mogul. I'd love to to kind of find get more in depth with it. And thank you for that little tip about pitch outs because if you can't pitch out in a game, what's the point? Um, yep, men and women not living together equals better relationships. Yep. So you buying it, Robbie? Are you going to be early adapter? Early adopter? Are you going to be an early adopter? I'm not doing it because I love Steam integration. Oh, so you already bought it, Robbie. Okay. Hey, how you doing, Al? So, a Red Sox fan coming in. Just kind of talking. Al, we did a mega huge, started a mega huge project on this channel last night. This was just a quick stream. What was supposed to be quick. Hope you're doing fine, buddy. Why is Sandy Koufax considered a great pitcher? So, John, are you gonna? We'll get to that question. Certainly, we can talk about the left hand of God. Certainly, we can talk about it. We can talk about that curved ball that looked like it could just drop off the edge of a table. We could talk about that. So the normal release is Friday, John. I'm buying it on Steam because I like the Steam integration. If you buy it from Out of the Park, you got to right, but Steam updates the workshop integration. So that's for me. Al, did you early adopt Out of the Park 24 or are you waiting for the Steam release, bud? What are you going to do? I used to buy both every year, Robbie, but yeah. Okay, Jackass is going with Steam. Yeah, how dominant. We can Yeah, Baseball Mogul has no DRM. Uh, Neither does um, Action PC. Okay, so you're waiting for Steam also. Cool. So Al, I was gonna do a first look on Friday night, but we're doing this big kind of bingo league draft. So I was wondering when if you're gonna be doing a first look, I wouldn't mind checking it out this weekend. And you care to tell the channel if you're gonna be doing a first look when you're, because I know you do every year. So when your first look would be, and we'll get the dudes to come over. Yeah, we wanted you to get involved in the bingo league, buddy, but you weren't around last night. So it's a cool idea that Todd B and Big Clue came up with. It's pretty brilliant. Pathfinder and Steam. Yep, I've got both the Pathfinder games. Really good. But so Jackass Whiskey asked a question about the left hand of God. So let's talk about the left hand of God. Because why not? All right, let's bring him over here. One of the most dominant pitchers in the entire game. Oh, baseball. And what a short career. So let's look at Koufax. So Bill James, right, talked about that the black print phenomenon in players, right? Players and pitchers. So anything in black is we're looking at Koufax's record. Koufax played from 1955 to 66, so 12 years, short season. Now you look at Koufax, you're gonna say, yeah, but geez, look at he was only 8-6, only 8-13. But Koufax's dominance, when you look at his 1962 up to 1966, and I think that's what makes him a great pitcher. Remember, Joe DiMaggio, right? We don't question how great was a player Joe DiMaggio was. DiMaggio played from 1936 to 1951. That's a short baseball career. I mean, Babe Ruth played 22 years. Cobb played a ton of years. Hannes Wagner. But look, I mean, leading the league are ERA. I mean, look at these numbers. These numbers are ridiculous. I mean, you have an ERA in the ones, right? But see, what else is he doing? He's 382 strikeouts in 1965, 363. But even in the years that he wasn't dominant in that Bill James black print, if you will, he's 197 strikeouts in 1960s, right? The Brooklyn Dodgers moved to LA. He's only in his fourth season, right? But his third season in baseball, 122 strikeouts, 131 in 1958, 173. These strikeouts are going up and up and up. A little bit of a dip here in 62. Great pitcher. Look at this whip. Talk about dominance. Look at those. Look at that. That whip is nuts. A .875. Crazy, crazy stuff. So your grandson's birthday is this weekend, so I don't know when. All right, hitting the hay. Well, Al, I might do a first one, but we'll be looking forward to your first look. Be well, buddy. Catch you later. Um, yep. Also a great fielding pitcher. Um, 4 Cy Young awards. Let's see. He was what 1, 2, 3. So an MVP voting here. Let's see, right? I mean, he's just I think what might be for you for Koufax is you're seeing the dominance in that latter part of his career, but pretty hard to deny um, when you start getting deep into Koufax. Just what a great pitcher he was. And as far as the lefties in baseball goes, look at this, right? As far as lefties go, I'll put Koufax in there with Waddell and Lefty Grove any day, any day, any day, any day. Look at all these firsts that he in these seasons that he was done, right? So there's the black ink, right? Average Hall of Famer is 40. He's 70. His black ink for pitching is 78, so he's ranked 16th, right? The Hall of Fame monitor here is approximately 100. His pitching, he's at 227, so 17th all time. Um, just insane. Um, I don't know. I mean, guys, hop in here. Hop in here. Hop in, hop in. So, Sandy Koufax, great pitcher. And all the more interesting because Koufax's favorite sport was basketball. You know, Sandy's still around too. 87 years old. God bless him. The Cubs to Bears has been watching baseball since 1955, both leagues hundreds of games. He says Koufax was the best by a wide margin. Yeah, and Steve Tate's got Koufax and Bob Gibson on his staff. Can't wait for that. So my thing about win-loss records is this. I so for pitchers win-loss record, and let's go to the guy. You guys know this was coming, and he has a great one-loss record. All right. To me, this guy right here is the greatest of all time. I mean, none of us in this room ever saw Walter Johnson pitch, but holy shit, this is dominance. All right. So he was 417, 279. So some people might say, well, yeah, geez, Johnson lost 279. But Walter Johnson was playing for a team that he wasn't getting run support. And yet, look, he was 23 and 13 in 1918, and the Senators were not good in 1918. You look at 1924, the only year they make the World Series and win it. Johnson was 23 and 7, so he was getting run support. You can see the years that he was. 1913 was a good Senators team, 36 and 7. But in so many lean years, look at 1910, 25 and 17. Um, so one-loss records, I don't think should be tagged. Um, I didn't realize that he was only 59 years old when he died. Holy shit. Anyhow, I don't think win-loss records should be tagged to a pitcher solely. I really don't think so. Getting inside the park home run to Mr. Head in 1963. I think that you've got to use other measuring things. ERA plus, and again, if you look at ERA plus for Walter Johnson, holy moly, and strikeouts, just wicked, wicked, wicked. And I will take Johnson on my staff any day of the week. I don't know if nobody in the bingo league has gotten Walter Johnson yet because I don't think any of his years have come up. And if they have, no, they have. In fact, one of them is out. His rookie year, 1907. So, yep, Johnson is still available. Here's where Koufax didn't win it. It was his fault. So Walter Johnson is your favorite pitcher? Mine too. MV is wanting Walter Johnson. Yeah. Short career. I mean, certainly compared to, again, so Walter Johnson pitched in 934. That's a big difference. But those years, and one of the criteria of the Hall of Fame is dominance in your time, and you look at those stats for Koufax, and it's kind of hard to say that you're not talking about a dominant pitcher. I mean, let's go back even to 1961 and those 269 strikeouts. Um, and this whip is going down. I mean, it's like Koufax, and I don't know why, and maybe a Koufax scholar will tell me why Koufax had such a short career. I have no idea. He was what, 19 years old when he started. He quit at age 30. I don't know why. In his final year in baseball, um, a 1.73 earned run average, led the league. A lifetime ERA of 2.76. And he's pitching in the 50s and into the 60s. And it wasn't until the later 60s then that you started, getting up to the year of the pitcher in 1968. Strikeouts per 9 innings. Okay, go back to the middle of his career, 1960. He was whiffing 10.1 batters per nine, and he's only walking 5.1. Down here, he's striking out 8.9 per nine innings and only walking 1.7. It's almost like Koufax decided I'm going out on top. I don't know. Does anybody know? Pedro Martinez, unbelievable. Yes, agree. So okay, his arm. It was his arm. Gotcha. Okay, got you guys. Well, if he had arthritis, holy shit! Look what he did in 1966. With arthritis, he strikes out 317 to lead the league. In the year before, 382. Look how far back do you have to go back before Koufax to see crazy strikeout numbers like that? And again, you got a pitcher with that whip of zero of 0.855. That's nuts. That is nuts. You can see obviously, quite a control pitcher too. 5.8 hits, 5.8 hits per nine, but that 10.2 strikeouts. I mean, that low walks, just crazy. And well, Sandy didn't give up a lot of home runs, so. And here is a guy. Right, I mean, he led the majors in his final year in baseball. Highest win in the majors in 1966, right? Best ERA in the majors. Um, Started the most games, 27 complete games. Again, so when it's italicized on Baseball Reference, right? It's he led not just his league but the majors. God, just crazy. I think he's a great pitcher. A great pitcher. Um, and it's too bad his arm did go bad. Then you guys are talking about the arthritis. I had not known that. So if he hadn't, and Koufax pitched into the 70s and this trajectory, Steve feels he should have pitched more innings to strengthen it. Anyhow, got a few more minutes. So to recap on the new Baseball Mogul, and that's the beta, it is not available yet, but for those of you interested, for me, the big addition this year is an exhibition mode into that game. You can play any two teams against each other as a one game or a best of 3, 5, 7, or 9 series. Any two teams from 1901 to 2022 or to 2022. So I think that's a really nice addition, a very welcome addition, and judging by the earlier reactions in the chat, one that folks are very keen on for Baseball Mogul. Big week this week and next week for We Baseball Simmers, and of course the other big thing happening next week is the beginning of the 2023 Major League Baseball season. But we have Out of the Park 24 is imminent. Digital Diamond Baseball version 11 is imminent. Um, Baseball Mogul 2023 release is imminent. So 3 games right there. The big one I'm waiting for, obviously for me, is Out of the Park 24. Really excited to see what they did this year with it. John DFW says Internet Koufax was forced to retire in 1966 due to severe elbow pain. He's reported to say that his elbow hurt every time he pitched. Oh my God! So he suffered from a suspected UCL injury. Ugh. So he pitched in that kind of pain and put up those kinds of numbers. Yeah, but he for that 5 years that he was dominant, one of the Hall of Fame's criteria doesn't say that you have to be dominant your entire career, but certainly in your era. And I mean, I think he meets the criteria in a number of ways. Again, I think this is kind of like a good old-fashioned hot stove league and greatest of all time. Um, but and actually, really, if you wanna talk about as far as dominance, certainly more than 5 seasons. I mean, you could say I would say, or if we're splitting hair, six. If we forget the win-loss record and look at ERA, that ERA plus, um, his strikeout numbers are nuts. I mean, come on, take a pitcher now. Wouldn't you want to have a pitcher in your staff that, let's say, had 173 strikeouts or 197? In his third year, he already whiffed 122 batters, and that was 10 and a half strikeouts per 9 innings is what that works out to, according to Baseball Reference. And Koufax, if you in fact look, I know I'm harping on his strikeouts, but he's known as a great strikeout pitcher. So you look at 10.5 in 1957. All right, then he had a drop off, if you want to call it that, of 7.4 strikeouts per nine in 1958. Then look at 59, 60, 61, 62, 63, a little dip down to 8.9. Then 64, 65, 66. I see more dominance there, perhaps, than 5 seasons. In fact, in 7 seasons, let's see, how many times was he an All-Star? 6-time All-Star. I would say that's Major League. MVP, what? One, two, da, 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 da. Yeah. He did not dominate an entire decade, but he also started in the middle of the 1950s and stopped pitching in the middle of the 1960s. So no, he didn't. But uh, the these numbers that he put together, I mean, I don't know. I mean, is the debate whether if the debate is whether he belongs in the Hall of Fame, there's no debate to me at all. 7-time All-Star, 3 Cy Young awards, 2 World Series MVPs, 2 Major League Player of the Year, 5 times ERA leader, earned run average. Oh my God, right? 3-time Triple Crown because pitchers have a Triple Crown as well. Yeah, come on, this is no doubt. He's not just a marginal Hall of Famer. I don't think anybody's saying that. I think he is same breath. Sandy Koufax, Walter Johnson, Christy Mathewson, Bob Gibson. I have no trouble putting Koufax's name in with those three at all. Yes, he only played for 12 years, but again, injury. I don't think that should disqualify him. I think that again, I think the trajectory shows, respectfully submitted, um, that Koufax, had he pitched another, and he probably could have pitched another 10 years without that injury. Um, that trajectory shows an upward trajectory, and I submit as evidence his 1966 season, his final season. What a great season! How many pitchers wouldn't want that season? You know what? All right, let's try a little experiment. You talk about 300 wins. Everybody talks about Cy Young. Everybody talks about Cy Young. Well, let's look at Cy Young here. All right, he's got some black print going on here. But what's the big thing everybody talks about Cy Young? He won 511 games, right? Okay, that's awesome. But what I'm not seeing with Cy Young that I do see with Sandy Koufax, and see if you guys notice it in the black ink. There's not a string of dominant years for him, except in this category here. Strikeouts over walks. Okay, so you do see that for a 4-year period. But look at Koufax, and you see this dominance. 500 wins. I mean, that's something. That's certainly something. But let's not forget that except for 1899, right? In fact, he was already gone from them. The Cleveland Spiders were a very, 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 very good team. The early Boston, well, the Boston Red Sox, Boston Americans, right? Boston, whatever you want to call them, right? He played for really good teams. But this Cy Young Award should be called the Walter Johnson Award. And given it, here's I'm gonna say a baseball heresy here. Between Cy Young and Sandy Koufax, if I had to choose one as my starter, I'll take Koufax every time. I'll take Koufax every time. And you guys know my attitude about dead ball baseball. I mean, I'm not taking anything away from Cy Young, but um, I'll take Koufax over Cy Young any day of the week. But it is subjective, and I've been saying that. Well, Christy Mathewson, what stopped Christy Mathewson's career was the First World War. In a training exercise, I'm sure you know this, in a training exercise, he was exposed to mustard gas just briefly, but it was enough that it seared his lungs out. And he returned in 1919, and he was already coughing up blood, the whole thing. It was dead by 1922. And Mathewson, had he not been in that training exercise, who knows? Who knows? Yep, training accident in the military. He never saw action, unlike Grover Alexander, who was actually on the front lines in the First World War. No, I'm not saying, but first half of his career, mediocre pitcher with and a badass curveball. Badass curveball, Sandy Koufax. I don't think he was the greatest of all time, but I do think Sandy Koufax was a great pitcher. Greatest of all time, though, is Walter Johnson. So, and if I had time, I would debate that with anybody that would disagree. Bob Gibson, among the top five. Bob Gibson, man. Oof. But you know what? At the end of the day, we can disagree but still love this game. And, you know, we can argue. Somebody in here argued that Roberto Clemente probably shouldn't be in the Hall of Fame. Others of us would argue that he should be. Some of you are feeling that Koufax doesn't deserve his stature. Other of us think we think he does. And at the end of the day, at least the debate we're having is it's about because we love the game so much, and that you know we at least can agree that we don't want bad. And there are some bad players, unfortunately, in the Hall of Fame. There's guys in there that don't belong. I don't think Phil Rizzuto should be there. Don't think Bill Mazeroski should be there. Don't think Rabbit Moranville should be there. And there are players that should be there that aren't. So the Hall of Fame is a bit weird. That's true. Yeah, Nolan Ryan. Nolan Ryan walked. My God, how many Nolan Ryan walked batters like crazy. I mean, if we're going to be iconoclasts here, yeah, yeah. Let's talk about. You know what? Okay, let's talk about it. I like it, and then we'll go off here. So here he is in the Hall of Fame. Let's look at Harold Baines Black Ink, guys. Let's look at it. Um, one instance of black ink, a slugging percentage of 541 in 1984. That's it. So, World's Worst Gamer was talking about being dominant, and Harold Baines wasn't dominant at all. What's this guy doing in the Hall of Fame? Okay, he's a six-time All-Star, won a Silver Slugger. Why is he in there? Why is he in there and say, I don't know, why is Dave Parker not in the Hall of Fame? Mickey Lolich, more black ink. Absolutely. So, MV. So, WAR, WAR is like this strange stat, and if you want to really get a big baseball argument going, wins above replacement is you're going to get. Yeah, that stat is so polarizing. It's really, really polarizing. So I try to look at other things. I mean, I think WAR is okay, but there's some. I think there's some people that are making WAR like the stat in baseball. It's like how high is the player's wins above replacement, and I don't. I'm not really sure how to answer your question as far as Juan Marichal. Certainly a great pitcher, great pitcher too. Right. Oh, I know. I know you don't care about the whole thing. I do. I do care about it, and I think it's gotten weird. But I'm just using your argument. And again, when I say argument, I mean that in an academic sense, not in a adversarial confrontational sense. One has to wonder what Harold Baines is doing in the Baseball Hall of Fame, right? Because that does that not presuppose that Harold Baines now ranks among the greatest players of all time. So as a mental exercise, right? When again, one instance of black ink, there it is, right? Rogers Hornsby, Lou Gehrig, Jimmy Fox, Joe DiMaggio, Harold Baines. Um, what was he, a 301 hitter lifetime? Something like that? Am I right? What's his lifetime batting average? No, not even. 289. A 289 batting average. 384 homers. So he's around the Gil Hodges neighborhood in home runs. What's this guy doing in here? But yet he's there. And there's probably Harold Baines fans that will say, yeah, he deserves to be in there. Um, not seeing it. There's all his, I don't know. Who knows, Harold? I mean, he's a great athlete. He's a great athlete. You have to be a damn fine athlete to make it to the show. I mean, as much as Bob Euchre makes fun of himself, I mean, you have to be you have to be pretty good to end up being a Major League Baseball player. And let's face it, none of us were good enough, or we wouldn't be hanging out here. None of us made it to the majors. None of us. As much as we probably all wanted to as kids. Yeah, I'm going to be a Major League Baseball player. Meh. What are Harold Baines? His postseason numbers? Jackass was Harold Baines played longer than Sandy Koufax. Yeah. Well, Koufax had what did we say? 12 seasons. Harold Baines had 22, so half again as many. And Harold Baines wouldn't have had a lot. Okay, postseason. What? Let's see. So 5 postseason home runs. So what with the White Sox, the A's, the Orioles, the Indians, and then back again with the White Sox. So what can we say about Harold Baines? He had a career the same amount of years as Babe Ruth. Um, oh, look, there's the compare. We could do a compare Harold Baines to. Who should we compare Harold Baines to? Any of the all-time greats. Um, I don't know. I'm just going off the dominance argument, and here is a player that clearly was not dominant and didn't even crack 300 as a hitter, and he's in the Hall of Fame for what? Let's see. How was his fielding? Maybe he's in there as a fielder. Where's the black ink? Nope, 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 nope. Never led in anything in fielding. Um, yeah, I have no idea. So his batting is a 3. He rates 669th. The average Hall of Famer is approximately 27. Um, so his batting is a 67. A likely Hall of Famer is 100, so he's below. His batting is 44. Average for Hall of Fame standards, his batting is he's 122nd. The average Hall of Famer rates it a 50. He's below in every category of a Hall of Famer, and yet he's in there. Yet when we looked at Sandy Koufax and we looked at his numbers, how he ranked among other Hall of Famers, you saw high numbers. So dominance apparently doesn't seem to matter in the Hall of Fame. So the argument can either be, if you don't care about the Hall of Fame, like World's Worst Gamer, is either, yep, Baines is awesome and should be in there, or you could go completely hardcore and say Koufax isn't. Well, I think you would be harder pressed, and I'm not saying World's Worst Gamer is making this assertion, but I think you'd be hard pressed to argue for the greatness of Harold Baines. I think you can say he was a very good player, good enough to play for 22 seasons, and I think that's awesome. He got to do what I would say most of us only wish we could do. Not only did he make it to the show, but he played. He played, man. And I'll give him that, but it doesn't make him a Hall of Famer. 139 hits short of 3,000, and I have. We're not picking on you, World's Worst Gamer. You're the one that talked about dominance. No, but you commented on Koufax and you said he wasn't dominant for a whole decade. Harold Baines wasn't dominant at all. I'm using him as just an illustration. I'm not picking on you at all, dude. At all. But if your argument about Koufax is not is lack of dominance for an entire decade, then here's this guy who wasn't dominant ever, and yet is ranked. He is considered one of the greatest in baseball now because of that election to the Hall of Fame. That's all I mean, buddy. That's all I mean. No, I know you didn't comment on Harold Baines. So, um, somebody said, well, Clemente only had 3,000 hits. He shouldn't be in. Well, but hasn't this been going on in baseball forever that we argue about all of this? So Clemente has a few spots more black ink than Harold Baines, a little bit shorter career. Um, Dominant, maybe not. More so a marquee player, but a 317 average, I'll take that. Fewer home runs than Harold Baines, but I think a stronger case can be made for Clemente up there in Cooperstown than Harold. I don't know. The thing is the Hall of Fame's not going to kick anybody out, and the Hall of Fame is not going to be inducting deserving players that should be in there, and they're not, unfortunately. So, yeah, what is watered down is becoming the. I agree with you. It's going to become the Hall of Very Good. Alex Raffini and I were talking about this one night a year or so ago. And I mean, so we have players like we know Mike Trout. Mike Trout is going to be first ballot. Boom, right? Ichiro, right? Um, but not only is the Hall of Fame watered down, but we have so many teams now. So is it that we can get more talented players, or is it more people can get to the majors? I mean, I'm a Pirates fan, and we've got a bunch of scrubs, and we got a couple good prospects. Oh yeah, Clemente over Baines anytime. How about Kirby Puckett? Is he really a Hall of Famer? That's a good question. I'll put it to the chat. What do you guys think about Kirby Puckett? He is kind of a polarizing kind of, right? 'Cause he's there. He is there. So short career, 12 years. Led the league in hits 4 times, 3 years in a row from 87 to 89. Total bases, is that really even a meaningful stat anymore? I don't know. Used to be 318 hitter, so he's a Roberto Clemente neighborhood guy. Yeah, in fact, even in home runs, hit what? Maybe what? I forget Clemente's. What was his home run total? I think he hit like 70 less than Clemente. I don't know. He's in there. We could compare him to Roberto Clemente. Let's compare him to Roberto Clemente. Let's let Baseball Reference choices Roberto Clemente career. So there it is. So we got a head-to-head here. Bring this up for you guys to see. So Clemente hits what? 33 more home runs and a longer career. Clemente's WAR, for those of you that wins above replacement, outpaces Puckett like mad. Clemente, triples hitter, faster, hit more doubles, but again, longer career too. But Kirby Puckett wasn't exactly a speedster. I mean, Clemente could be a Kirby Bucket, more stolen bases, but not a high stolen base total. I don't know. He's in there. I mean, I don't. I guess. Wish I. Yeah, there's stat hit. I mean, I don't know. If you're talking about dominance, I guess. How many players have been dominant? Phil Rizzuto was never dominant. And or what is it? So according to Clemente is sixth in right field of all. Left him in the Hall of Fame. John DFW just says right comparing the WAR between Clemente and Baines. But you could do that yourself, guys. Have fun with that. You know, just compare any two players, and it'll take you to that and make that decision. And of course, Robbie Wartburg. You can also use the Baseball for Windows Encyclopedia. Kind of does that too, and in a nice graph style. I don't know. What about Whitey Ford, who pitched for those great Yankees teams? Would you say he's as great as Walter Johnson? In my mind, no. But I think Johnson was in a class by himself. You know, Gibson played for some good. Bob Gibson played for some good teams, but was still dominant. Rube Waddell pitched for good teams, was still dominant. Walter Johnson pitched for some shite teams and was absolutely dominant. So I know nobody's questioning Walter Johnson. In fact, the sports writers in the day said that had Walter Johnson pitched for the New York Giants, he probably would have gotten even more press than Christy Mathewson, and that's saying something because Mathewson was a great pitcher. Look at the guy he replaced. The guy Mathewson replaced is a Hall of Famer, Amos Russi. So I don't know, guys. I don't know what kind of criteria the Hall of Fame uses anymore. It used to be, that there had to be, this sense of dominance, and then you see players in there that just weren't, and yet they're there. Phil Rizzuto. Um, let's see. Wow. Geez, he had 735 plate appearances in 1950, and he led the majors 4 times in sacrifice hits, and he was hit by pitches 8 times and led the American League in that in 1947. Played the same position and more people remember Phil Rizzuto because he was a Yankee. But you know what? We can compare Rizzuto, and no, I'm not going to compare him to Hannes Wagner. but I will compare him to this guy, to Arky Vaughan. Two Hall of Famers here. And, I mean, Vaughan just outpaces him. Just crazy. And yet, except for the folks in this chat who remembers Arky Vaughan out there, but everybody knows Phil Rizzuto. He was a Yankee, and he was the money store guy. I think Rizzuto got in because he played with Mickey Mantle and Yogi Berra. And I know that'll piss off some Yankees fans, and I'm sorry about that. But I'll say the same thing about Bill Mazeroski, and I'm a Pirates fan. I don't think Rizzuto was anywhere near the shortstop that Arky Vaughan was. And roughly the same career years, too. So it wasn't like Arky Vaughan had a much longer career than Phil Rizzuto either. Look at the OPS for Arky Vaughan, 136 versus 93. John DFW almost lost his wrench. Did you see how quickly he put in joke? He's a Rizzuto greater than Wagner. Oh my God. Yeah, Rizzuto was great doing color commentary. I saw some of those, like on YouTube. You can hear some of those things in old Phil, and he knew his baseball. And hey, I'm half Italian. He's a paisan. What can you say? Jaw. I've never heard of that one. That's a new one, Mike. If you're arguing Rizzuto, what about Pee Wee Reese? Okay, well, why don't we do that? Maybe Vaughn is unfair, okay, because Arky Vaughan was a great shortstop. All right, let's try Pee Wee Reese because another Hall of Famer who played for some fine Dodgers teams. Let's look at them. Let's see how close they are. Let's see. Reese played 18 years, and Rizzuto played what? 17? So similar careers. Reese, 126 home runs. Phil Rizzuto, 38. Pee Wee Reese, 885 ribbies. Phil Rizzuto, 563. Reese is the better player offensively when you look at these categories. However, it does beg the question, does Pee Wee Reese belong in the Hall of Fame? Bit more black there for Pee Wee Reese. Now, are they in the right categories? Runs scored, well, okay, Pee Wee Reese got on, but he had to be batted around. Between the two, I would only go so far as this to say that Pee Wee Reese is probably more deserving, but is he a great shortstop? Also, remember Reese loses 3 years to World War II. But maybe we could argue that Pee Wee Reese got in because he played with Duke Snider and Jackie Robinson and Gil Hodges. Of course, it took them forever to elect Gil Hodges. Okay, John, and welcome in, John Haber. I would say that, but then we could go back to our example of Harold Baines. Could you, if you're talking about living through a career and knowing the effect the player had on the league, what kind of argument? And you're talking about a better understood their impact on games. Then could you make an argument as to why Harold Baines deserves to be in the Hall of Fame? He's kind of the acid test. And I ask this respectfully, and again, welcome in. I did not expect this stream to go this long. No, you can't. But yet, if you're saying back there, if I'm comparing raw numbers, then I guess the thing is why, if we can't compare raw numbers, and if you're arguing for comparing the effect a player had in a game, then how do we explain Harold Baines in the Hall of Fame? Is all I'm saying. And I'm not saying that you should be speaking for the Baseball Writers Association of America, because I don't think anybody can speak for those guys even themselves. I'm just curious. So that's all I'm saying. And again, things get lost in text, and maybe I'm just losing something in your question. But I think raw numbers are important because mathematics do not lie. The numbers don't lie. I mean, we look at a guy who's an obvious Hall of Famer like Walter Johnson. Those numbers do not lie. Baseball Mogul has the Hall of Fame, which other games don't, which says world's worst gamer. Yeah, so John, where we got into it, I don't know how long you've been kind of hanging out. I don't we sort of got into because Jack S. Whiskey and Pinso Beans was asking about why so many people think Sandy Koufax is great, a great pitcher. But he's asking, what are some valuable baseball books? Do you mean in terms of money or in terms of research resources? If you're talking about valuable resources, um, and why I always talk about getting these great old baseball behemoths on eBay. I'm just looking over here at the all-time baseball source book from Stats Incorporated, which is brilliant. A book that I reviewed on the channel a couple months ago, The Baseball Timeline, I think is indispensable for getting a lot of minutia about baseball history that you're not going to get in another great resource, of course, Total Baseball. One that I would suggest picking up if you want to get into it is the Great Encyclopedia of 19th Century Major League Baseball. The Cultural Encyclopedia of Baseball, second edition by Jonathan Light. Um, I can't recommend that book highly enough. The book's by Dr. Harold Seymour. The planned fourth book never happened. Dr. Seymour died. But a lot of the Ken Burns documentary material was drawn from Dr. Seymour's works. And yep. So if you're talking value in that way, if you're talking about money wise, I don't know. I'm rebuilding my baseball library, so I wouldn't say I have very many. My books in sleight of hand and magic, I have some that are extremely valuable money wise, but baseball, I think the Bill James Historical Abstract is pretty damn good. But that Bert Solomon book is fantastic. Fantastic book. It's just one man's opinion. So both. So if you're poor to your soul, then hit eBay. Hit eBay. I just picked up this team by team encyclopedia of Major League Baseball. Just came in the mail today, or and it breaks down each team. Really nice. Has records, all kinds of cool stuff, weird stuff that happened in each team. Lots of stuff. The thing cost me $5, and it weighs in at 1,000. It's a paperback. So 1,160. Yeah, damn it, my eyes. 1,166 pages. $5. Big fat baseball book. Love it. Used to have a big baseball library. Left most of it across the pond. So trying to rebuild it now. So there still isn't the needed history of early baseball. So PQ Ribber, have you read Dr. Harold Seymour's Baseball, the Early Years, or the Early Game? What's it called? I have it sitting right here. I think I think if you try try the try the Harold try Harold Seymour's books. Seriously, they're brilliant. No, so John, Thank you for asking. Thank you for asking, John Haber. Yeah, so the new Baseball Mogul does allow you to play um, a team against like any year, any. So you could play the 1912 Red Sox against the 1978 Yankees if you want. Absolutely, yes. Concise History of Major League Baseball. Yeah, Leonard Coppett, good book. Yep, 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 yep. Yeah, finally is right, John. I'm glad to see it, and a lot of people are really glad to see that Clay has added that. So I'm beta testing it. It's not out yet, but I'm beta testing Baseball Mogul, and I'm I really like the exhibition part of it now. It's been needed. I mean, Out of the Park's been doing it now for a number of years, and it's something you've always kind of been able to do. Um, well, not kind of, you always been able to do an action PC baseball and diamond mines. So Clay finally implementing something that I think it was sorely needed, and it's super easy. Boom, boom, you're ready to. As is everything else in Baseball Mogul, a couple clicks and you're ready to rock. Yep, 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 yep. I think PQ Ripper. I think you'll really like Dr. Seymour's books. Really, really good stuff. You end up watching other people play. Again, guys, the newest Baseball Mogul probably, I don't know when Clay's going to release it. I'm guessing within a week or two. This is a beta. There are a couple things I'd like to see changed or fixed, but it is a beta. But yeah, the exhibition thing is really cool. Really like it a lot. Now, if Clay implements tournaments, that will be brilliant. Anyhow, guys, didn't expect it. I said there wasn't going to be any baseball, and actually I didn't lie. We only played like a couple innings of a couple games, but we no baseball tonight. But I just wanted to come on and do this. We ended up getting into a good spirited discussion, and I like that. And thank you. Always get smart baseball fans. And John, I know you've stopped in the channel occasionally. Hope you'll come back. We're doing a really, really fun draft with a unique twist to it. Um, so we're drafting players, but the catch is that the years that you draft from are random. We're using the entirety. We're using baseball history, not the entirety, but we're using from 1880 to 2022, and it's been a lot of fun. We've got 8 rounds done. Everybody's building teams, and it forces you to kind of think. So PQ Ribber ended up getting Babe Ruth, but Babe Ruth of 1931 as opposed to Babe Ruth of 1921, or for that matter, 27. And so Babe Ruth is now he's on one team, no doppelgangers. It's a lot of fun. Cards were the gateway to baseball. Yep, baseball cards were the gateway to me too. But then when I started, later on, get to be a little older and stuff like that, and you start getting out there some books, 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 and that was the old that was the Macmillan baseball encyclopedias. That once I got those, I stopped collecting baseball cards. So I'm with you. Jackass Whiskey says, while some collect baseball cards, I collect the things behind the cards. Nice. PQ River says he works in books, should be able to grab. Yeah, it's an easy book to find. And Dr. Seymour did 3 books. So the first one's called The Early Game or The Early Years. Second was Baseball, The Golden Age. And that's basically the dead ball era. And then he did a third one. It's called Baseball, The People's Game. That's about semi-pro ball and really, really nice. So non-Major League Baseball, and the planned fourth book never came out. So I had heard that I guess his there was somebody that was gonna finish, but it never happened. So, but very. I mean, he was an historian, not just a baseball historian, but an academic, had his PhD. Writes well, kind of fun. You even know who was, and Dr. Seymour even would tell you who's the very first player to get fined in professional baseball for cursing. So that was pretty fun to see, and why and what happened. Super, super amazing research. So Dr. Harold Seymour and his baseball books, great, three of them. Pick them up. Good stuff. Aaron Reed's still here. Once people started talking about the value of the cards and we're putting them in binders, I was done with buying sports cars. Yeah. Yeah. I just missed. Remember the awful gum? The awful bubble gum that came and you had to rip open your tops or Fleer or whatever it was. And sometimes you had like, and you had to trade, man. You had to trade to get those cards. Now, you just go to a store and just buy the cards. I don't know, man. It was more fun. I guess I'm being an old codger here, but I miss the days of, that gum was terrible, but you didn't care, man, because it's like, oh, I got whoever. So Jackass Whiskey says, when I was in Iraq, we were given Topps baseball cards with some official gold leaf, and he said he traded all his Iraq currency for the baseball cards. Wow. Yep, John Haber, he remembers that gum. It was hard as a rock, man. Crack. Oh my God. But still, it was fun, man. Tearing open those things. So I mean, like the people that play Magic the Gathering, right? You're looking through the, geez, what rare did I get? And you're opening those Topps baseball cards. And you're like, who am I getting? Who am I getting? And you'd always get like, you'd have like a big stack of scrubs, and the scrubs were the guys that went on your bicycle wheel spokes. So you like the gum? Whew. Same thrill as Magic the Gathering. Oh, that gum was. Oh my God, I remember. Oh, I chewed it. But God, now when I think about it, damn, he's a Magic the Gathering master. Well, my new channel, Aaron, I'm gonna be showing off a couple games you can play either online or against the AI with every Magic the Gathering card ever printed, and they're free programs, Forge and ManaLink. But um, not here, not here. I showed Forge here one time, like 2 or 3 years ago, just as a recording. So you can tell your cousin about Forge and see if he wants to mess with Forge. It's very cool. But back to baseball. I miss getting baseball cards that way. But the baseball encyclopedias just changed it all for me anyhow. So kept you alive selling those MTG singles. So PQ Ripper, imagine if when you started out in the game, right, and you didn't know that like a Beta Black Lotus, what it would be worth now, or the Moxes and all that stuff, right? John Haber says the gum got white powder on the cards. Yep, this they had to be dusted before you use. Yep, I remember that too. And when you opened the pack, you were just assailed, like absolutely assailed with that powder, with that the fragrance. And it was, come on, it was rite of passage though. Do they even make it? Like, can you even buy baseball cards that way anymore with that gum that was as hard as plywood? I don't know. We should. Where's our? 'Cause I'm an '80s kid, so I got to ask our '90s kids here. '90s kids, Aaron and Robbie. The gum was so hard. It was. So yeah, you started Arabian Nights. I think you started. I started it revised is when I started Magic. So just wondering so Robbie or Aaron, did you guys grow up with the buying baseball cards with the gum in it, or was that already over, or is that even a thing now? I don't even know. I just know that everybody I know that still collects baseball cards, they just go out and where's the thrill in it? It's like, so you just buy the complete set. I mean, that's no fun. At least for me, it's not any fun. I loved opening them up and trading. Come on, man, I'll trade you so and so for so and so. Come on, come on, you love this guy. Come on, come on, come on. But the scrubs always went in the bicycle spokes because you had to have your Harley, man. Can I remember the players on my first few cards? No. Oh my God, flipping the cards, yes. John Haber. John Haber's old school, man. He knows. Okay, Aaron Reed says he doesn't remember the gum, so I'm guessing it probably wasn't a thing by then. I don't know if Robbie's still around here. It's 1:10 for him, his time zone. Remember flipping the cards? John, do you remember like on the back of the cards too? They had like sometimes those little cartoons with neat little like the little neat cartoons and stuff like that. Steve Tate and I were talking about this one night about the baseball cards. You kind of like okay, so Robbie does remember the gum. Okay, I mean you look at the pictures like pretty cool, right? The questions, exactly the questions in the back of the baseball cards, but also getting mesmerized by the stats. I was just mesmerized by those stats in the back. Oh my God, loved them. Gum, you could break your teeth. Man, but when we were collecting baseball cards, it wasn't this multi-million dollar industry, was it? PQ River says 70, is that 72 tops? The best cards for matching, matching color card flipping. Dude, we had no idea. Yep, and Mike is saying he remembers how affordable baseball cards were. I had sticker shock. I went into a hobby shop. Um, this was one of my in between living in America, living in Europe, back in America, back in Europe, whatever. I remember going into a hobby shop here in America, and I was thinking, oh, just for giggles, man, I want to look. And I mean, I literally almost passed out from sticker shock when I saw what they were asking. I'm like, are you kidding me? But it's a big thing now, and I'm thinking back to when I was a kid, and all of us think about some of the cards we had. There's somebody in here probably maybe he's not here now, but maybe Ken. Maybe when Ken was collecting, maybe younger. I don't know. Ken would be so there might have been somebody around here that had Mickey Mantle's rookie card and didn't know that how valuable the Mickey Mantle's rookie card would be, for instance. Or do you think the kids back in 1908, right, the T206, the few kids that actually got the T206 Wagner, damn, and it was ah, fun stuff though. John says the gum back in the 80s was bad, but he still ate it. PQ River says, "Oh, the cards he thrashed." So MV, and for those of you that don't know, is a Brit. He says, Jackass Whiskey says we collect them for the love of the game. Precisely. Yep. It was those stats in the back that made him understand baseball really quickly. He had a 1980 Yastrzemski, Guidry, Omar Moreno, Rod Crew, J.R. Richard. John Haber said Who's Who was the only place to get stats except for the cards. Is that even still published? Who's Who in baseball? Mother threw away. Oh my God, moms and throwing stuff away. How about it? So I don't PQ because I'm not a basketball fan, so I don't know what you're asking there that they were taller. I'm not a basketball fan, so I don't know. Yes, they were, and Hannes Wagner said that he didn't want little kids smoking, and at that time, right, nobody thought smoking was bad for you. So that's one of the things. That's the reason why the Wagner card is really rare, and it just happens that he's also one of the greatest baseball players of all time. John started getting into baseball cards in 1984. Hannes knew. Yep, he knew. Somebody told me that somebody just recently found another one, and it was in pristine condition. I think it was either Steve Tate or Anthony Bleacher Bums Gaming told me that recently somebody just found there was a T206 that was sitting. It was like in a box, in just stairway of this house. Somebody's it was a great grandfather or something, and it was there. And this thing is, I forget what it was graded, but this thing is like it's pristine. I don't know what it was graded at. John Haber says our cards weren't preserved to be sold, but used to have fun. Yeah, they wouldn't have been much fun, been with much today, even if I had. Yeah, we did. We did all kinds of things to those baseball cards. But first, we were just enchanted by them. And for me, I mean, players that like I would, I really like, especially American League teams, like these, out on the West Coast, these players, like, ooh, wow, American League, man, ooh, this is weird. Pennsylvania has two baseball teams, but we're a National League state, so great memories of baseball cards, man. Took them everywhere you went to. Baseball cards, baseball cards, and always tried to invent games with the baseball cards. Because I didn't know about APA and Strat when I was a kid. I had no idea those games existed. So my friends and I we would try to invent games using the baseball cards. Of course, they never worked, but we tried. We tried. Loved those silly factoid cartoons. That's why I'd asked everybody about those PQ. They were fun. Has anyone ever heard of Topps baseball cards that were primed with gold leaf for Desert Storm? I'd not heard of that. I've never heard of those. Never heard of those at all. So, as Aaron Reed would say, he has adopted a saying from uh, my homeland. Good crack tonight. Good fun. Good talking tonight, guys. We're going to close it down here soon. Soon, soon, soon. Remember the baseball game with the spinners? I've read about them. I'm not old enough to have ever played one of those games, but I've seen pictures of them. They look cool. I'd like to have one just to have it. Well, John, thank you for coming in. I'm just singling out John for right now because I think this is maybe the second time he's been here. But so, John, you might be interested in this little draft thing that we're doing. This is going to become a league in Action PC Baseball. We're drafting from all of baseball history, but with a really neat twist. So if you're not doing anything Friday night and you're a baseball nerd, and I'm guessing you are, because right now it's 2:17 Eastern time, and don't know where you are, but here we are. A bunch of us are up really late talking about baseball. Join us for the draft. It's a lot of fun. Just to see all the stuff going on. You get to meet a lot of the other ne'er-do-wells that frequent our little home here. Okay, you accidentally catch Steve and I. Steve is amazing. Oh, so you're in Philly. All right, so you're not that far from me, John. I'm staying with some friends around Harrisburg, PA, so you're not that far away. They're still making seasons for the spinner game, says World's Worst Gamer. Wow. PQ Rivers out there in New Mexico, a state I'd like to visit someday. All right, guys, I'm going to cut it off here. I want to thank Jackass Whiskey and Pinto Beans, PQ River, Aaron Reed, John Haber, um, John DFW. John, thank you again for your hard work in putting together our Discord channel. Aaron Reed, who's going to be on with us Wednesday night for Game 1 of the Ned McGreevy World Series. Robbie Wartburg. I don't think we had. Did Cousin Ken come in tonight? I don't think he did. Pib 99. Ah, man, I forgot to even say, I forgot to say hello to my paisan. I'm sorry, Pib, I didn't see you. He says just watched the 1965 World Series. So yeah, talking about Sandy Koufax. Good stuff. Steve Tate. Thank you, Steve. The Cubs to Bears, our Red Sox fan. Check out his great channel. All the content creators. Good stuff. Sports Time Machine, Mr. Utah Mike. Good stuff. Bernard Strom. Bernard, I'm sorry, I'm so bad with certain names, but thank you. Guys, subscribe to Bernard's channel as well, please. Okay, so yeah. Well, Ken probably knew there wasn't going to be any baseball tonight, so. All right, guys, take care. Thank you. I appreciate all of you. You know that, and I really, really mean that. So, all right, guys. So Wednesday night, Ned McGreevy World Series Game 1. And until then, see you around the batting cage.